History often begins not with an event, but with a story. Rome, one day to rule the Mediterranean, shape law, and build a vast empire, did not begin with a document. First, it chooses a story for itself. That story defines its identity. It shapes how it will think, how it will fight, and how it will rule. The story Rome chose is not romantic. Rome does not begin with a tale of peace. Rome begins with a brother's blood. 753 BC, at least according to the traditional account. On the banks of the Tiber River, a basket drifts on the water. Inside are two infants, Romulus and Remus. This is not the result of an accident. This is a deliberate political choice. Because these two infants are not just babies. They are a possibility. The throne of Alba Longa has recently changed hands. The legitimate king was overthrown, and his brother took the throne. The new power is fragile. And fragile powers seek to eliminate any alternative claim to legitimacy. If these children grow up, one day they may claim the throne. That possibility is dangerous. The solution is simple: eliminate them. Rome's story could have ended here, but Rome did not want to be an ordinary city. The river did not kill the children. The current leaves them at the foot of the Palatine Hill. And the legend begins. A she-wolf arrives. She nurses them. This detail is not accidental. Why would a city identify itself with a wolf? Why would it begin its story not with a palace, a prince, or a hero, but with a wild animal? Because Rome did not want to be born innocent. Rome wanted to be born strong. The wolf is not a symbol of civilization. The wolf is a symbol of nature. In nature, there is no equality. In nature, there is no compassion. In nature, there is only a balance of power. Rome explains itself through this order. The weak die. The strong remain. Rome's mentality reveals itself already in its very first legend. Later, a shepherd named Faustulus finds the children. This detail is also important. Romulus and Remus are not raised in an aristocratic palace, but on the frontier. Frontier regions are not stable. There is constant danger. Societies living on the frontier learn two things early: defense and attack. Rome's founding figures are born not from the center, but from the frontier. This is symbolic. Rome's character did not grow in comfort, but in struggle. In their youth, they become leaders of shepherds. They fight. They gather strength. And eventually, they learn their true lineage. They return and kill their usurper uncle. There is no moral narrative here. There is a narrative of power. Rome's legend does not separate justice from power. Legitimacy is gained through power and preserved through power. After that, the real turning point comes. A new city will be founded. But where? Romulus wants the Palatine Hill. Remus wants the Aventine. This is not merely a matter of geography. This is a matter of power. Two leaders, one city. In Rome's narrative, there is no compromise. There is no division. There is no shared governance model. They wait for a sign from the gods. The flight of birds is interpreted. Both sides claim divine support. But in Rome's mentality, there is one truth. Two centers of power are unstable. A verdict is given, and that decision is sealed with blood. Romulus kills Remus. The founding of Rome begins with fratricide. This event is not a dramatic mythological detail. This is an ideological declaration. Rome's first law is this: the city is greater than the individual, greater than the family, greater than emotion. Rome does not hide this story. It does not conceal it. On the contrary, it tells it with pride. Because this story becomes the foundation of legitimacy for the harsh decisions that will come later. Rome will one day burn Carthage. In civil wars, it will kill its own citizens. The Republic will produce dictators from within. The roots of these actions are planted here. In Rome's subconscious lies this idea: division brings destruction. Centralized power brings order, and if necessary, the system is maintained with blood. Romulus builds the city, but a new problem emerges: population. A city cannot consist only of men. The solution is once again a typical Roman method. The neighboring Sabines are invited to a festival, and their women are abducted. By today's values, this is clear brutality. But in Rome's story, this is a necessity, a path taken for survival. War breaks out. But here a second great principle appears: absorption. Rome does not only destroy, Rome absorbs. The Sabines are not annihilated. The two sides merge. Two communities become one political structure. This is exactly the model of Rome's future empire. First defeat, then integrate. Turn the enemy into a citizen. Expand the identity. This model will be applied in Italy, in Greece, in Hispania. Rome's strength is not only military, but systemic. As Rome expands, it does not destroy its enemies. It turns them into Romans. After Romulus's death, 6 more kings follow. Rome continues to exist as a monarchy. But what must be noticed is this: in Rome's legend, a person may become divine, but the system remains exactly the same. Romulus ascends to the heavens and becomes deified, but the city remains. Rome is an institution greater than individuals. This mentality will later reveal itself in the birth of the Republic. Rome is not the state of one man. Rome is the state of a structure. Modern historians debate the historical existence of Romulus. Archaeological evidence confirms settlement on the Palatine Hill in the 8th century BC. But the details of the legend were most likely shaped later. So why? Because every great civilization creates a founding myth. But Rome's myth is different. Rome does not begin as a victim. Rome begins as the perpetrator. This is extremely important, because a society behaves according to how it sees itself. Rome saw itself as chosen, the son of Mars, raised by a wolf, killed his rival, founded a city. These symbols form the infrastructure of Rome's collective psychology. Centuries later, when Caesar crossed the Rubicon, this would not be unexpected. When Augustus transformed the Republic into an empire, this was not a rupture. Rome had been inclined towards centralized power from the very beginning. What Romulus did was the first rehearsal of what Rome would later do. Power is not divided. Power is not shared. Power is preserved. Rome's founding myth teaches us this: a civilization is the reflection of the decisions it makes at the beginning. Rome made its first decision with Remus's blood. The city is greater than a brother. The state is greater than the individual. Order comes before compassion. These ideas made Rome powerful. But the same ideas would later weaken the Republic, because the idea of centralized power eventually consumes the system. Rome's story began here, and that story is not only a beginning, but a definition of character. Rome was not born gentle, Rome was born harsh, and civilizations that remain harsh tend to endure longer. But every harshness carries a cost. Rome would pay that cost centuries later. But that is another story. Rome's first story is this: a river, a wolf, and a decision. The decision to build a city, even if it means sacrificing a brother. Rome's legend is not a fairy tale. It is a manifesto of mentality. And that manifesto laid the foundation for an empire that would change the world.